Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, everybody. It is not only one mailbag, John Breech. We're doing two mailbags because by the time you listen to this, we might be in Nashville, Tennessee, home of John Breech and Jason Whitlock and Clay Travis. And who else lives in Nashville, Breech?
Tommy Lauren. Is that her name?
Tommy Lauren, I think is how you pronounce her name. So, yeah, it's a whole crew.
Everyone's here.
We're all going to be in Nashville, so got some mailbags for you. It's me, Ryan Wilson, John Breech, like I said. Will Brinson is driving Robbie around, which is the they know it's his son. Which is
it's Brinson, so he could just be driving around some random guy named Robbie,
or Robbie, his son, who's 8, could be driving him around. I mean,
True.
it's his go-to excuse. Brinson thinks so little of us that he doesn't come up with new excuses. It's just Robbie related. Anyway, we got two mailbags for you. This is mailbag 1. Come back tomorrow, or if it's already in the future, just go continue to scroll on your podcast feed of choice for mailbag 2. But for now, we're doing mailbag 1. Breech, you want to get us started?
Mailbag.
Oh, got 2 because it's a mailbag 1 and 2. Mailbag Tuesday.
It's a doubleheader.
There you go. Joseph Wager asks.
He should be a gambling editor, right? Or get a column. Wager?
Too bad his parents' last name aren't Joseph Brain Surgeon, because he'd probably make a lot more money. Joseph Wager asks, with how weak the NFC is looking, Green Bay, no wide receivers, Tampa Bay issues, LA Stafford arm issues, what is your favorite long shot bet to win the NFC? This is a good question, because we've talked for months now how the NFC doesn't feel nearly as deep as the AFC. And, Joseph Wager mentioned some of those teams on the NFC side. The AFC side, where it could be just a mess from start to finish. Buffalo, Cincinnati, Baltimore, Colts, even Tennessee, if you want to throw them in there, than every team in the AFC West. NFC side, I mean, is a long shot a team like the Cowboys, even though they're favored to win that division, or are you going to go in another direction, Breech?
I think we have to play the odds here to determine long shot. So I think we need to make long shot either something greater than 10-1 or 15-1. Which one do you think?
Do you have the odds in front of you?
I do have the odds in front of me.
What is the 10-1? Give me some 10-1 teams, and I'll tell you if that needs to be longer.
The Cowboys are 9-1. The 49ers are 7-1. And then Packers and Rams are 5-1. And then the Buccaneers are plus 325.
All right, let's start at 15-1, and we'll see if that's too extreme.
All right. If we are going for teams greater than 15-1 long shots, I'm going to go with the Vikings. They are 16-1. And I just think that even they were good last year. I thought they were good last year, and I think they can be even better this year. I mean, you look at that team, and what they do? They went 8-9 last year, and they had all of those one-score losses. They just kept happening. I mean, Greg Joseph missed a chip shot field goal in week 2 against the Cardinals, and if he doesn't miss that, boom, they're 9-8. Against the Bengals in week 1, if Dalvin Cook doesn't fumble in overtime, Vikings maybe win that game. So you flip 2 of those games. And so this is literally when they talk about football being...
I blame both those losses on Kirk Cousins, by the way, but go ahead.
It's fair. You can blame a lot on Kirk Cousins. Mike Zimmer blamed everything on Kirk Cousins. But if you're talking about a game of inches, the Vikings were that team last year, except they came up short on all of those inches. So, they go 8-9, 1... and 7, 8 of those 9 losses were by 1 score. And so,
it's funny. You talk about the 1-score losses. They won one more game than the Atlanta Falcons, which we talked about all last season about all the close 1-score wins they had. The Minnesota Vikings are probably 4 or 5 wins better than last year's Falcons team, but they're right next to each other in the stadium.
Right. If the Vikings had just gone 4-4 in those 1-score games and those 8 losses, they're a 12-5 team. I mean, that's insane that we're talking about that. So, when you have that many 1-score losses, I think it kind of falls on the coaching staff, because if it's 1 or 2, it's kind of a luck thing, luck of the draw. But when you're talking about 8, that's a problem. And so now they have a new coach in there. I think their offense is going to be better. I like the Vikings as kind of a dark horse at 16-1. I think that qualifies as a long shot.
As Eric Casillas likes to say, this feels like Lucy in the football with Charlie Brown. Like, you keep sort of trying to prop up the Vikings, and I don't want to blame Kirk.
It's 2 years ago. I took a year off the Vikings last year.
I mean, the general national consensus seems to be this is the year, sort of like the Browns in the AFC. What are the odds for the Philadelphia Eagles? Because I might go in that direction if they're long enough.
The Eagles are not qualified as long shot. They are 11-1.
Oh, 11-1.
So
Jeez.
you just missed there.
What about the Saints?
The Saints do qualify. Like the Vikings, they are 16-1.
And did you mention the Cardinals already?
The Cardinals do not qualify. They are 14-1.
I like the Saints better than the Cardinals. Now, obviously, this is contingent on Jameis returning to the form that we saw last year before the ACL injury. He has a foot injury. I don't know if he probably won't play in this preseason game. When you listen to this, the preseason game will have already taken place. So I don't think there's any reason to rush him out there. But Michael Thomas is back. Alvin Kamara is back. They have to sort out the left tackle position. They drafted Trevor Penning. They have Chris Olave. The defense is going to be good, and the division is not very good. And how concerned are you with Tom Brady taking off the next 10 days before he returns? Is that a problem for you, or are you okay with that?
Well, me and Brinson mentioned that you've just gone and cursed the entire team. I mean, you've spent the entire offseason saying that the Buccaneers are going to regress this year. They're not going to be as good as they were, and key things just keep happening. They lose offensive linemen. Ali Marpet retires. Tom Brady's taking 2 weeks off in the middle of training camp.
Ryan Jensen gets hurt, and the backup Robert Hainsey goes down with an injury.
It's your fault, Wilson. You've literally cursed this team, and I do think it's a concern. Look, Tom Brady is awesome. Tom Brady can do whatever Tom Brady wants, but it's still, this is a guy who has practiced what he's preached for 20 years, and that's you need to be at practice. You need to be making your team better. You need to be building this chemistry, and that's something that's not going to be happening with him for the next 10 days minimum. It could be even more than that. We don't know how long it's going to go. Todd Bowles sounded 95% sure that Brady would be back by week 1, but there was like that 5%. Actually, no.
And we don't know the details of his leave of absence, right?
No, just it's been cited as personal reasons.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's a concern. And for all the issues you laid out there, both concerning Tom Brady and concerning the rest of that team and how the roster is constructed, and due in part to injuries. Would you sign Antonio Brown now that he's opening act for Jesus at Red Rocks?
Yeah, who wouldn't want Jesus as opening act? What a great tweet, by the way. Sure, he stole a meme that somebody else made up on the internet, but the fact that he tweeted it out is hilarious. Yeah. You know what? It's funny you picked the Saints because I think if I had to pick another team, I like the Carolina Panthers as a super long shot. I don't know. Something. Get to the playoffs. No, we're talking about this guy. Old Joseph Wager here asked for a long shot. The Panthers are 65-1. So I'm going super long shot. One super long shot.
Holy crap. All right, let's do super long shot. So the Panthers, the Giants, the Lions, I'm not even going to put the Bears in there, and the Seahawks. Of that,
we're going to get any team over 50-1 will count as a super long shot.
Okay. I think of that 50-1 group, I might like the Lions a little better than Carolina.
Ooh.
I think the team trusts Dan Campbell more than Carolina might trust Matt Rule, who's clearly in the hot seat, but maybe he's thinking about college. He's had struggles his first 2 years. The quarterback situation perhaps is settled now with Baker, but Baker left on rocky terms in Cleveland, and I think Jared Goff looked good in preseason, training camp anyway, and I think that roster might be a little better.
The Lions could be good. There's no doubt about it. And all they have to do is get to the playoffs because this guy want to know who can win the NFC. They don't have to win the division. They got to sneak into the playoffs, and then anything can happen. And real quick, my argument for the Panthers that, look, you look at Baker Mayfield did when they got to the playoffs in 2020 with the Browns. He had a strong running game with Nick Chubb back there, and boom, he didn't have to do everything, and they had a pretty good defense. What does he have in Carolina? If Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy, they improve their offensive line, which was horrible. They got Austin Corbett, Bradley Bozeman, and their defense is
Ike Ekwonu. Don't forget about him.
Ike Ekwonu. They have 3 new starters who are all upgrades over what they had last year. And then you throw in a defense that was already pretty good, but it was just always playing on its heels because the offense was so bad. And like you said, you have mentioned the Tom Brady thing. The NFC South is in flux. We're all expecting the Buccaneers to win it, but if there's one team that could slip, it does feel like it's Tampa Bay.
Would you think about moving Sam Darnold to tight end?
No, I would change him to right guard of the water bottle.
Nice save there. All right, thank you, Joseph Wager. Hopefully, your name lives up to expectations. Based on the advice we've given you, I do not have high hopes. All right, next up, Josh Alvarez asks, with all the rain delays and bad weather games, why do teams not want to build domes, roofs on their stadiums? Well, I'm just going to spitball here, Breech, and then you can fill in the blanks with where the truth actually lies. But taxpayers typically pay for these stadiums, and sometimes that's a hard sell, especially if you built a stadium within the last 20 years. The sort of the lobbying angle for why you should build a stadium is that it brings jobs and people to a certain area. I think the economic research says that isn't necessarily the case. There may be exceptions. That would be my biggest takeaway. My other takeaway is we're so far advanced technologically is that you don't have to play on artificial turf now, even if you play in a dome. Maybe you do in a dome, but not with a roof, because we know that Arizona has grass on their stadium, which is an open and closed stadium. The Falcons, however, can open their roof, but they think they have turf. And I hate turf because of the injury concerns. That's the only reason I mentioned that. But Breech, where did I make up stuff and where was I close to telling the truth?
Well, I think with the rain delays, that's more of a baseball thing. You don't really see football games get delayed by rain unless there's lightning near the stadium.
Yeah, Green Bay had one. Oh, no, it wasn't even – it was a soccer game where the two international teams played in Lambeau Field.
The Hall of Fame game last week also delayed.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Weather.
I didn't watch that clearly.
Yeah, I was just putting you on the spot there, Wilson. And so I think your first point is a key one, is that this isn't the owner writing a check to put a roof on a stadium, is that taxpayers are going to have to foot the bill, and it costs a lot of money to put a roof on a stadium. So that's part of it. And then I think that some teams they feel like it's a home field advantage. I think the Buffalo Bills are a great example. They probably could have tried to finagle their way to get a roof on their stadium in Buffalo, their new one that's going to be built, but they said, no, we want to play outdoors in January and make these teams come to Buffalo and freeze, and then we're going to beat them 47-3. So I think there's a home field advantage part of it, a cost part of it, but you know what? I do think every baseball team should have a retractable roof. I hate rain outs and postponements. That stuff shouldn't happen.
Yeah, I don't watch baseball. I haven't watched baseball closely in probably.
You didn't watch a Field of Dreams game, Wilson? What is wrong with you?
Do the enclosed stadiums, are they still doing AstroTurf? Or are they able to have like grass? Like do the infields look like they used to look on the old Riverfront Stadium, or with like the patches of dirt, or are they like a conventional infield?
Ryan, I barely know what turf they use in NFL stadiums. You think I know what they use in Major League Baseball stadium? No, they definitely do not look like Riverfront Stadium, those old stadiums, what was basically concrete with.
But the infield is all dirt all the way around. It's not like little squares of dirt around the bases.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of them. All stadiums are different.
All right, listen to the baseball podcast for the answers to those questions. I think that's what we're telling you. Fair enough. All right, there's your. Hopefully that answer. That is an answer, Josh. I don't know if it's the answer you're looking for, but I think Breech is right. Like the bad weather is typically rain and it's a mosh pit, but it's not lightning or it's snow. And everyone loves a snow game, I think, unless you're the Tennessee Titans when you lose 55-0 to the Patriots back in the day. Otherwise, it's fun. All right, next up, at Jake T. Hamilton, he asks, how much hot water would you say Brandon Staley's in? And this is an interesting question because I was talking to someone at Bill's training camp that thought that perhaps, I was there Monday and we were just talking about coaches, that perhaps maybe if things don't go well this year, Staley could be out. But Jake T. Hamilton continues, if the Chargers continue to middle with so much roster talent, I think it means to continue to be average. Would LA try to switch to a more conventional coach? Thanks. And the name that came up, Breech, what name do you think that came up? If you could have any coach in the world who would be available a year from now, who do you think might be the top?
Sean Payton.
Sean Payton. Because Sean Payton would have a quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks on planet Earth, and Justin Herbert, a really good defense, a lot of playmakers. So one of the issues, and I remember must have been late last season, maybe early in the spring, I was talking to BMAC and Brady Quinn on HQ and asked, would you want to play for Brandon Staley? And BMAC said no, with all the going for it on fourth down stuff. It was too much for him. And Brady actually said, yeah. So I think there's a difference of opinion there when you talk to, depending on who you talk to, about the aggressiveness with which Brandon Staley goes for it. But I don't think it was Brandon Staley's fault that they tied that game last year and didn't make the playoffs. I can't remember the specifics, although they did call a timeout. Maybe the timeout didn't help. So where are you at on Brandon Staley going in? He's only going into the second year. I liked what he did last year, but was a too much of trying to be cute for your liking? And let's say they go 9-8-1 or 9-8, excuse me. Would you be interested in Sean Payton?
Well, I think that you made a couple interesting points. And we'll start with Sean Payton. Number one, there was literally a report that Sean Payton wants to coach either the Cowboys, the Chargers, or one other team I can't remember. But the Chargers were one of them. So that are the Dolphins. So Payton basically leaked out. Payton's camp leaked out that, yeah, if I return, I'd love to coach the Cowboys, Chargers, or Dolphins. So all of a sudden, if you're the coach for one of those three teams, there's a lot more. There's already pressure on you. Now there's even more pressure because Sean Payton wants your job. And so that adds a layer here, because if you're the Chargers, you have built this pretty impressive roster. And, you know, I don't think you blame Staley last year. It's his first season as a coach. He had a winning record. They had a shot at the playoffs in their final game if they would have beaten the Raiders. So you're not going to grill them too much for that. But if they don't make the playoffs this year and Sean Payton's available, I do think the front office would at least think about it. But if you take Sean Payton out of the equation, let's say the Cowboys hire him in January, so he's not available, I don't think there's any way Staley loses his job after 2 years. So I think the Chargers will give him at least 3 years. So if he misses the playoffs in 2022, they'll give him 2023. If he misses again, then they say, all right, you know what? Your style was good, but we're not winning and we're moving on. And the one thing I will say is I think BMAC makes an interesting point with not wanting to play for Staley, because that is kind of the part that gets left out in all these analytical decisions. Is there's a psychological aspect when you're the Chargers and you go from your own 19-yard line on 4th down against the Raiders and you miss it. That's a psychological blow to
especially if you play defense like BMAC did.
The defense has to go out there and say, all right, well, we already gave up 3 points. No matter how well we play this series, we could get 3 sacks for 5 yards apiece. They're still kicking a field goal. And so, yeah, there's definitely a psychological aspect to crazy analytical decisions like that can't be factored in because there's no way to measure the momentum and the psychological part of that. And so listening to an ex-player say that is fascinating because, you know, the Chargers, of course, aren't going to throw their coach under the bus. Justin Herbert's like, yeah, we love going 4th down because the coach has faith in us. But if you're the defense and you see them failing the 4th downs, you're just like, what the hell is going on?
Maybe that's a good distinction. BMAC played defense, Brady played offense, and Brady's like, yeah, I'm happy to throw the ball one more time. Whereas BMAC's like, well, if this doesn't work out, you understand that we're responsible for not letting them score. And if it's at the 19-yard line, that becomes much more problematic. All right. Yeah, I'm sort of with you. I think I like Brandon Staley. I like his aggressiveness. Again, I'm not playing defense, but they got to go to the playoffs. And this year, I like them to win the division, but they can't charger it up. And as you noted consistently last year, you can't win the MVP unless you win the division. So Justin Herbert, get her done, as Mater says in Cars.
Get her done.
All right. Next up, at Stub67 asks, yes or no? Any fan that holds a poster requesting a shirt, ball, stick, etc. should be banned from watching sport. And I think they actually used a legal term that I had to look up real quick, but thankfully Nada removed it. And the legal term means without any future date being designated as for resumption. Sign die. I thought that was like German, but I think it's like legal. But I think that the takeaway is I think there should be a caveat here. Any adult, especially if you are trying to resell this on eBay or wherever to shops that where you go buy baseball card collectors. Because I was at training camp on Monday in Buffalo, and it is sort of a weird thing to see guys who are my age and they're middle-aged men wearing their team's favorite shirt and yelling,
like clamoring,
yelling and screaming for autographs for the backup long snapper. That said, I'm trying to think, like, I don't know who I would like to meet, like who's someone outside of football that I would really love to meet. Who would I like to meet, Breech, that's famous?
Ric Flair.
I did meet him, and that's a great point because I was actually pretty excited when I saw him in the hotel lobby at the Atlanta Super Bowl, to the point where I wasn't going to say anything. You're like, why don't you say something? You've been a huge Ric Flair fan since you were in 6th grade, which is true. So I did and got a picture with him. So that's
I had to coax you into doing it, but yeah. That's the point where you're an adult and you're saying, no, I can't do this. I'm an adult now. This isn't the kid in me wants to get this picture, but I'm an adult man right now. And I can't go up to this other adult man and ask him for a picture. And that's how most people, I think, probably think.
Now, a couple caveats. Again, I mentioned if you're a collector and you're just doing it to make money, that's a no. Sorry. If you're a kid, I have no issue with it. Knock yourself out. Even if you're a teenager, by all means. If you're doing it for your kid, like if you were acting like a crazy person, Breech, with your Joe Burrow shirt on just to get an autograph for your daughter, no issue there. And also, if you maybe these guys have jobs they don't like, and this is their sort of respite from real life, and they love cheering for their favorite football player, I get that to a degree, but I understand what Sub 67 is saying. I wouldn't ban them from watching the sport, or with no chance of resuming their love for football. But I get it. I get it on some level. But as long as you're not harassing the player, I guess it's okay.
And as long as you're not knocking kids over to try and get this autograph.
Like George Costanza running out of the birthday party when there's a fire. Don't do that. But I take the spirit of what you're asking, but I'm okay with it.
And there also needs to be an age rule. I feel like anyone under 16 is allowed to hold up anything they want to get signed.
Yeah, that's right. But if you saw this on social media on Thursday night, Friday morning, there was fan appreciation night, whatever it's called in Carolina, and two fans were about to go to blows, and DJ Moore had to go into the stands and break up the fight. Like, don't be that guy either. Don't be the guy, middle-aged man about to fight with another middle-aged man, forcing someone in their mid-20s to come up there and tell you to quit acting like a bunch of babies. So,
how hilarious is it that DJ Moore was just randomly sitting by that fight and then broke it up? Like, what?
I know. It's crazy.
Can you imagine being forced to tell that story? You're like, yeah, I was so drunk, I almost got in a fight with another Panthers fan. And people are just like,
what were they arguing? Like, what are Panthers fans arguing about, do you think?
Whether Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy. One guy's like, no way. And the other guy's like, did you see him his rookie year? He's staying healthy. I know it.
The only Panthers fans that should be fighting are Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. Everyone else should be realistic about the prospects of how this thing's going to unfold. So shout out to DJ Moore. And be a fan. Fan short for fanatic, so be fanatical. Just don't be annoying. Don't knock little kids over. And don't say stupid things to grown men who play sports for a living, because that makes you look bad, not them. All right. Thank you for that, Stub 67. I get the spirit of what you're saying, but I think I'm a little less annoyed than you are. That's okay. Next up, David A. Gutierrez asks, if you could have any job in the NFL, backup quarterback, NFL commissioner, Bengals kicker, Steelers head coach, what would it be and why? I would not be NFL commissioner, even though last time I checked, Roger Goodell, as the new owner of the Broncos, called him, makes $45 million a year. Would you want to be the commissioner, Breech, at $45 million per?
Yes.
You would put up with the BS for 340 days a year. We'll give you 12 days off.
There's nothing to put up with. You just look at your paycheck every week. You're like, yeah, it wasn't a bad week. There's my $45 million a year. You're getting paid almost $1 million a week, Wilson. You wouldn't take a job for $1 million a week just to be a public
punching bag?
Public punching bag?
By the way, I got the math wrong. The 365 days in a year. So you get an extra few days off. No, because mentally it'll wear you down. Like every single day, some ornery old billionaire is calling you on the phone and just ripping you a new one for 35 minutes about how you're not doing enough to support.
Yeah, I mean, but you're just so well compensated. You get to live an excellent lifestyle. Like, the presidency is something that beats people down. You look at a picture before someone is elected, and then after they're elected, no matter who it is, they've aged like 30 years. Roger Goodell looks like he's aged 4 days since he took over.
That is a fantastic point. And don't forget at the draft, the COVID draft, where he was sitting in his basement in a T-shirt,
eating M&Ms,
bulging biceps with that medium T-shirt on. That's a good point.
I can vacation wherever he wants. We only see him like 10 times a year. So
okay,
yes, he takes a public beat down those 10 times that we see him and all that. But
he's getting it every day because the owners are calling and they're
right.
Okay, so generational wealth if you're the NFL commissioner, or would you rather be Chase Daniel, who's been a career backup and has made, I'll look it up real quick, tons of money doing literally nothing.
I just want to say real quick, I do think Roger Goodell's actually very good at his job.
Yeah, fair enough.
And
but
Goodell did not pay me to say that.
It comes with a cost.
Yes.
So,
or Chase Daniel, yes, I got
Chase Daniel has made $41 million in his career. How many career starts does Chase Daniel have?
See, I would not want to be Chase Daniel because he has really just been lucky. Because if you're the backup quarterback,
you can pick.
You might have to go in the game, though, Ryan. What happens if the quarterback goes down? You have to go in the game.
He'll be prepared.
This guy played behind Drew Brees for most of his career. Drew Brees rarely got injured till the latter parts of his career. And Chase Daniel, I think, I'm looking it up now. He has 5 starts since
I was going to
2010.
ask you to guess. So, yeah, he's been at least since 2010. 5 starts.
5
amazing.
starts.
Less than a half a start.
Making $8 million a start.
I would rather be Chase Daniel than Roger Goodell. No one knows who you are when you go outside the house. You can, Roger Goodell can go to the restaurant, and if someone's mad at him about like a Cowboys fan or a Patriots fan, they can go up there and just rip him a new one. I'm sure he has security with him, but you still have to listen to that. Chase Daniel can go to Applebee's, sit at the bar.
No one knows there's a millionaire sitting at their bar.
Right. And he's just pounding whatever the Applebee's apps are called. Let's see what else we got. We got Bengals kicker, Steelers head coach. Well, the Bengals kicker and Steelers head coach both come with a lot of pressure. Any kicker in the NFL. Like backup long snapper, I'd be okay with, but they don't carry one of those. That's typically a position player. I think punter is probably the next less stressful position. Kicker's a lot of stress. Long snapper, I think, has more stress than punter. What do you think about that, Breech?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You have a pressure on every single snap. And although there's pressure on punters, it's not as much as a kicker or long snapper. I would say if any person in the world thought they could be an NFL player, their best shot would be a punter. And no random person could do that and they would never make a team. But your best shot would be, if you're a random person who trained for a year to make it in the NFL, your best shot would likely be as a punter.
I think that's right. That's right. I mean, if you're 5'11", 185, and have some athletic ability, you can probably learn to kick a football 40 yards after a year's worth of training, and probably farther than that, especially if you're, age 20 to 35 or whatever. But if you're those same height, weight, speed measurements, and you're trying to play linebacker or quarterback or kicker even, maybe even long snapper and holder, I think you would be much farther down the development ladder than you would be as a punter. So snapper, high stress. Holder, we don't talk about enough. High stress. Kicker, high stress. Punter might be your entree.
You do not want to be a holder.
That said, I would still take Chase Daniel because the holder, snapper, punter, kicker, unless you're Justin Tucker or
you're not making any money,
Chris Boswell, are not getting paid. $41 million for Chase Daniel for 5 starts in 11 or 12 seasons.
Yeah, but the question says, what would your job be? And it doesn't say who would you be. You're not being Chase Daniel. So you would want to be a backup quarterback for the who?
Chargers.
You don't think Justin Herbert will ever get hurt?
I suppose the Buccaneers is probably the safest bet because Tom Brady typically.
I mean, not right now.
Not right now. Patrick Mahomes has gotten hurt. We've seen some of Chad Henne.
Like, can you imagine Ryan Wilson? If you're the backup quarterback for the Chargers, you're playing in the preseason Saturday night, and you're taking all the snaps because they're not putting Justin Herbert in there.
5'10", 49 years old.
So you're getting beat up for 3 preseason games, and then you get to earn your paychecks in the regular season. That's part of the deal here. Could you handle that?
Nada says he wants to be the backup for the Bills or the Chiefs. Those guys get hurt. That's my only concern. Like, Case Keenum is the backup in Buffalo. I know that because I saw him the other day. He's like my height. And then, oh, look who it is. Speaking of Chase Daniels, it's the backup podcast.
Oh, how we doing?
We're doing pretty good.
I thought you were just going to show up for the Tuesday podcast. We're literally on the last question, and Brinson shows up to end the Monday. End the Monday show.
Well, it's been great to see you guys. Have a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, so that's it for the podcast. It is quite fitting that Brinson just rolls in at the very end. How is it possible, Breech, that Brinson is becoming more and more Brinson-like by being less and less reliable?
How is Brinsoning not in the dictionary yet? I'm going to write a letter to Webster's and get this taken care of.
Well, they're going to write a letter.
It's not fair to Brinson.
You know what my friends call Brinsoning?
I can't only.
Is it like Captain Morgan when you put your hand up put your leg up on the stool?
No, it's if somebody sends something to the text thread that was like a link or a tweet or something that was sent like an hour ago.
Oh yeah,
it's called.
We've experienced that as well.
Sure.
All right, before we go, Breech, because we have one more of these things to do, unless you're Brinson, in which case.
Is this the fun one or is the next one the fun one?
This was the fun one. We wanted to say. All right, Breech, before you go, one last question. Give me 2 positives about Brinson, because I'm trying to, the more he talks, the more I'm wondering why we're friends with him.
He has great hair.
Yeah, but I mean, so does
That doesn't benefit you though.
yeah, so does Tom Cruise. He ain't friends.
Wait,
with
what? What are two things that benefit us?
No, he's saying two positives of like being around me.
Yeah, being a friend with Brinson because I'm coming up short.
My favorite.
Well, okay, I got you a job. First of all, your current job. I got you your current job. You were.
Go ahead.
That's
Go ahead,
fun.
Breech.
It's fun to socialize with.
That is true.
Okay,
Always has good stories. So that's part of the
Yeah,
socializing
always.
aspect. Okay, most of the time.
Okay. All right, those are good. All right, well that's it for the mailbag 1. We'll be back for mailbag 2.
But he also doesn't mind if we blame everything on him because he's the Teflon guy. It just bounces off him, so it doesn't
That's
matter.
true. He does not care. He
I
leans
do
into
take a lot for the team.
He's our fall guy. Chris Carter says everyone needs a fall guy. Brinson is the fall guy, except he doesn't actually fall.
Chris Carter did say that.
Hey, Breech, do you? Yeah, I'm a light. Yeah, Jesse Clark points to the chat. I'm a lightning rod for roast. That's true.
Yeah, but
Breech,
as
do you
I
know what the
said,
capital of Thailand is.
it's coming up. You'll find out in Nashville.
And Victor Garcia says Brinson is your classic gambling degenerate friend. Also true.
All right, well, good. I'm glad that
I've made so much money fading Brinson that I am practically a millionaire.
There you
Free
go.
polos. Yeah.
Free polos.
Hey, you once got a big box of meat because of me.
Box of meat.
You're getting some free.
Got some free Uggs because of
I
you.
got
I got you Uggs one time.
But that
shot
sounds
of
like,
a $40 bourbon.
but that
the
sounds like
Super
we're
Bowl
taking
one
advantage of
Brinson.
Brinson and he's paying to be our friends. That is not exactly what I was looking
Hey,
for.
it just you. It's called ancillary benefits to being around me.
All right. Well, thankfully, Brinson's here. And if you're going to listen to mailbag number 2, you'll get to hear him in the entirety. So, Brinson, thank you for joining us on your podcast once again. Breech, thank you for your insight as always. And we'll catch you guys on the flippity flop.
The good news is you have to live with saying the flippity flop for the rest of your life.
I love saying the flippity flop.
Oh, boy.
All right. Brinson, you're up. Let's do it. I think we're just rolling into number 2.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Will Brinson. I'm your host. Today is
Tuesday.
Is Tuesday. Is it Tuesday or Monday?
We're in Nashville. I'm actually in Nashville, so I can say
Oh
I'm
my
perfect.
God. Wait, this is Tuesday's podcast, which means that you may be listening to this while Ryan Wilson is getting a tattoo.
I'm flying into Nashville today, guys.
You're flying in. You're gonna fly in. Then you're gonna get down on the flippity flop.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
Wait, what did you say? You're like, see y'all on the flippity flop?
Yeah, like catch you on the flip side. Catch you
That's
on the
Wilson's
flip
catchphrase. That
Yeah.
should be his tattoo. See you on the flippity flop.
flop. Catch you on the flippity flop.
What if you
Catch
get
you on the
catch you on the flippity flop across your neck?
No regrets.
Yeah.
With a dangling picture of flip flops underneath it.
I have the first question of this mailbag. Why, Brinson, do you have this palatial estate in the backdrop, but when you're in HQ, you look like you're making a hostage video?
Well, the good news is that won't be lasting because the great Nick Bourne, one of our, I think he's like a senior coordinator.
He runs things down in Fort
Yeah,
Lauderdale.
he runs. Yeah. One of the guys who runs things. They saw me with my hostage background on HQ.
Did not approve.
And said, "Well, I was saying, I was at HQ. I was like, I'm just going to keep doing this until somebody calls me and is like, all right,
Why didn't you just have your office set up? What are you waiting for?
I can't. The length of the is it credenza? Is it
Yeah.
credenza? Yeah, the credenza. The credenza is
actually
too
got
long for this room, so I can't put it in here. So I don't have any shelving that doesn't.
So you're gonna get a CBS backdrop? Is that the plan?
No. They sent me. They're sending me a bookshelf that's going to have like with little squares that I can put like different stuff in.
Once again, Brent's getting free stuff for no good reason.
I mean, literally getting a bookshelf to put behind me for my setup to make sure make me look more professional when I do my video hits. It's not for no good reason. It's very.
That
Are they
is
going
a
to do
classic
anything about?
Brinson.
They going to do anything about this part?
No, they're not going to fix my.
That's me waving at my face.
Um,
If you're listening,
but we by this point in time, so if people are listening, if it's like 2:00 on Tuesday, I'm in makeup right now, getting ready for the photo shoot.
Brinson, you wear makeup every day.
yeah. I mean, how's that different than any other? Day?
I'm not afraid to wear makeup.
I didn't know we were having like makeup people and hair people.
Do 30 minutes in makeup and grooming. Like they're gonna be like, hey, Breech, your hair.
Breech is going to bring his wife and daughter so they can get made up too, just like a
Do
special
you think
day
they're
out.
gonna, do you think they're gonna like trim my beard? Like, what?
I hope so. Mine's a little uneven right now.
Mine is too. I gotta like, yeah. I trimmed it. I actually trimmed mine down a little bit yesterday.
What if they give Wilson a wig? They're like, sorry, we're not doing the no hair thing.
It's like Wilson has to do his like pro photo shoots in like a Guy Fieri wig.
He's got a wig and a tattoo.
How do you know I didn't ask for that?
I am here for this.
I would believe it.
Wilson, are you? Is your family prepared for the fact that their father, their husband,
Well, I got to make sure that we have.
patriarch of their household is going to return from Nashville with ink on his body?
Turns out it's incredibly hard to book a tattoo. Nada can attest to this. It's incredibly hard to book a tattoo session last minute. Am I right or am I wrong? Nada.
Here we go.
Now, why am I in this?
Because you're a tattoo expert. You're a tattoo expert. You know how it goes.
Oh my God.
Yes, it's very hard to book this last minute, but
Thank
you've
you.
known about this for a month.
That's not what I wanted you to say, by the way. Do you get yours in Charlotte, Nada, or do you have other go-to locations?
Oh, no. I have one person in Charlotte that I trust implicitly with the tattoo needle. Just
Yeah,
one.
if not as a frequent tattooee, that sounds like a Star Wars
Tattoo recipient.
Tatooine.
Tatooine.
Shut up, Rachel.
And that's what I was saying. It's a tattooee. Like, if you're, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Nada, but like if you get tattoos, as the kids say, on the reg, the kids don't say. The kids are too busy talking about the flippity flop. Actually, if you get tattoos regularly, you've got a guy, like, I mean, or a gal, like you're going to someone who you use. Like, you're not going to like just. It's not like you're not like going to like what's the haircut store? It's like
We're not going to Supercuts.
Yeah, you're not going to Super Tats.
No, this is like having a barber. You have that one person that you trust implicitly with your skin.
Thank you.
Because
That's what I'm trying to
otherwise
figure out.
you end up with like skin diseases and skin infections, and it becomes just one big rigmarole of just. It's a bad situation altogether.
But we don't care about that as it relates to Wilson.
Well,
Fair.
Wilson cares about that.
Off. We want the bet paid off.
Well, I already got your money. I got all these suckers' monies that Venmoed me. And
you
vacation.
obviously didn't listen to them. I don't, and I'm not judging.
How dare you ask that question?
Yeah. Did you listen to the podcast with me and Breech on Thursday or Friday?
I listened to it 3 times.
Yeah, sure. We said, what would be your monetary amount that you would pay me and Breech each, same amount each, where we get we absolve you.
We let you out of the tattoo.
Yeah, you're and now look, we acknowledge that we are screwing over the listeners. We are taking money and ending this wager. But what would be your dollar amount that you'd be willing to pay to snuff out this bet?
I will pay you and Breech individually 25 cents to get out of this.
What? I would take it.
So
we said $1,000 each. We'll let you out.
no, I don't care. I've told you from Jump Street, I don't care about getting this tattoo. I'm fine
Oh
getting
my
it.
God, it's gonna happen. It
Once
could
we
be
gotta
happening
get
right
it-
now as you listen to this podcast in the audio version on Tuesday.
We just got to
we might-
find.
Also, Nada, if you could,
I need to find a place because I can't find. I've reached out to several places and they're booked up, and that's just the
you've reached
reality.
out
in
to
Nashville.
several places.
I will drive around Nashville this weekend and find one.
What, in your clown car with the booster seat? How are we getting around?
No, not you. You're not here. I'm here. I live here.
He's going to drive around and book you an appointment. I will actually spend my afternoon calling tattoo shops to guarantee we have an appointment on Tuesday.
Okay, I encourage you to do it. They have to be not a 4.8 stars or higher. Does that seem
Oh
reasonable?
my God!
I'm not going to
minimum,
4
yes.
points.
At minimum.
Thank you.
4.8 or higher is the minimum.
Yeah, I'm
No,
not going to.
4.5. They only have like
4.5 is fair.
one bad review could kill them.
Nope.
Wilson's like Wilson's on Yelp all afternoon, like bombing tattoo parlors and bad reviews to sing.
I told you I don't care. And I know that Brinson ain't doing that. He's got, not that he has anything better to do, but he doesn't have the attention span to follow through on that.
That is true. I don't like talking to people.
And I am literally on a tattoo website. It says getting a tattoo is a process, and it starts with doing some research to find the right artist for your project. Whereas we're like, oh, can we find a walk-in where Wilson can just randomly get one?
I mean, we're gonna get you drunk enough in Nashville where you're just gonna get a tattoo.
That sounds like an HR violation.
I mean, I think this whole
is
podcast is an HR violation. First of all, I was going to point out
You're going to be so angry when I don't get a tattoo.
these photo shoots, they're going to do like full body shots. Speaking of HR violations,
Oh,
like,
God.
this is body shaming 101. Outrageous.
Got to do some crunches this weekend.
That's
You're
one
gonna,
way to put
yeah,
it.
I know.
You're not going to be naked, by the way. You understand you're wearing clothes,
You're gonna
right?
take us out to like a nice Nashville dinner and get us
That's
drunk.
not what
on
my
Tuesday
email
night?
said.
I'm gonna look bloated on Tuesday.
Well, you don't have to eat everything they put in front of you. You can.
I mean,
Does this make my face look fat? No, your face makes your face look fat.
Yeah, don't wear the Tommy Boy tie.
Yeah. I'm not. Oh my god, you're bringing the tie, aren't you? So annoying.
Debo said, bring the suit that you are in HQ. So I'm going to do that.
I am not wearing a tie. I'm done with ties.
I've never seen you wear a tie, so I would imagine
I might wear a golf shirt and a blazer.
that would be predictable. That
would
would
be
surprise.
classic Brinson.
I wore that to my buddy's wedding last fall, and me and my pal Franklin did. We were the only two people like who pulled that move.
How old is
And
Franklin?
people kept coming up to us. They were like, we hate you. You look like the most comfortable person at this entire wedding. Like everyone else is sweating.
Well, it's funny because I wore a suit and tie to Breech's wedding, and the people I was with, including you didn't say this, but two other people I was with who underdressed said, "Gosh, I feel underdressed. I wish I had dressed up for Breech's wedding," which is just respectful to the people that you're trying to celebrate.
I don't care anymore.
Clearly,
Oh, you know what we should go do while we're in Nashville? I didn't realize let's go to Top Golf.
Oh my God, Brinson.
hard
love-
pass.
What, you don't like Top
We
Golf?
could go to the bar and see if Gronk's there.
Why would I want to go play golf on a video game? I'd rather play.
It's real life golf.
What's the video game golf game? The old school.
But you can play Top Golf anywhere. You got to do something you can only do in Nashville.
Okay. Have you ever you know about the Top Golf in Las Vegas? By the way, this podcast is imminently worse when I'm hosting.
Yeah, you won't
Remember
believe
the-
this, but Breech and I did
It's
spend.
a Tuesday mailbag. Everybody knows what they're getting into right now.
That's true. Yeah. We're in Nashville trying to get tattoos right now. Oh, Wilson, did you know that we are actually a finalist for the People's Choice Podcast Award? You probably did. You had to probably do the read before.
Yeah, we talked about this because you got to get that. You got to get your own tattoo.
I know, but now I'm kind of worried that I'm going to have to get a tattoo if we win.
Good. I look forward to that.
I kind of don't want to win. I'm very torn. It's a Sophie's Choice situation.
Well, that should be incentive enough for people to vote like crazy for you to win, so you can make excuses for not getting a tattoo, and then you'll have to get yours before I get mine, which will be amazing.
If I get a tattoo before you get yours, you have to get a second tattoo.
By the way, did you ever ask Breech the most perplexing "Would you rather"? Because he was on vacation.
Was it
Angry snakes versus
Oh,
landmines?
no. Oh yeah, you didn't hear that one. Oh god, people are gonna be like,
So let's get into it, and then I'll ask it to start and Breech. I think Nada waited on that one. I think Nada was producing that show. Maybe it's Debo, but we'll get Nada's response to it if he didn't give it to us previously.
I was okay. Sorry, I don't. Why do I have Fan House Wikipedia page open? What
Because you were seeing how much they mentioned you.
they don't mention me. Neither me or Wilson are mentioned.
That's sad. That's very sad.
Very sad.
All right, I'll start with this question, Breech. I asked it before,
Sure.
so just give us a short answer. Not, I want your opinion too. So this is a would you rather, and Brinson. I mean, Brinson could not decide. This is one of the best would you rather's ever to stump Will Brinson's brain. So I set the parameters. I did some fine tuning to this question. I set the parameters at 20 yards wide, pretending on the football field, 20 yards wide, and the sideways length of the football field. So 55, whatever the football field is width wise. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
you're running from one sideline to the next over a 20-yard span. You have to run across a field in that range of 1,000 angry rattlesnakes or 3 landmines.
By the way, it's 160 feet wide.
Okay, yeah.
Across 100. So you have to run 160 feet, and you have a 60 feet.
60 feet by 160.
Wait. So the field is
You have to run
160 feet wide.
You have to run from
Long.
one visit from the
And
visit
how long?
sideline to the home sideline.
It's 160 feet long, 60 feet wide, 20 yards wide.
Yeah.
So it's 50 yards. I have to run 50 yards.
You're running from one sideline to the
You
next
basically have to run 50
between the
53
goal line
yards.
and the 20-yard line.
Yeah.
You're running from one sideline to the other sideline.
1,000
angry rattlesnakes, 3 landmines.
I'm doing the landmines.
Oh, you are not. You're
By the
not
way,
doing it.
somebody in the chat, D-Mart was like, is this part of the Tuesday episode of the Killing Time? Serious question.
This is serious time killing question as part of the Tuesday episode.
I don't
All right.
know. That's a good question.
Go
This
ahead.
is part of the Tuesday episode. But yeah, I am definitely doing the landmines.
No, you're not.
I just said I'm doing the landmines. I'm doing the
Not a-
landmines.
Reaching the landmines is not surprising.
Nada, what would you do?
Landmines, and it's not even close. I mean,
Thank
the
you.
thing.
Nada.
Brinson said this initially, and here's what I said to him. You're going to say that, and then when the 3 other people, me and Brinson go before you, and Brinson picks landmines, and his head gets blown off and lands at the other 20, you'll be like, you know what? I'm going to take the rattlesnakes.
And then there's only 2 landmines left if Brinson
No, that's
wins.
not how that
No,
works.
they reset it, dum-dum.
Oh, well then, No, it's 3
You
landmines.
cannot see the
You don't get to be like
landmine.
a third person who comes through. And there's one landmine. That's not.
Am I?
Breach is like, can I go last?
And then rattlesnake. I'd like to hire one more guy to go ahead of me.
Am I wearing clothes or shoes?
I mean, you're wearing
I
something.
take my shoe off and I toss it forward to make sure it doesn't hit a landmine.
That's Brinson. Stupid.
Yeah, we've been through that. It's
Why can't you do that?
Dude,
Because you're
think about-
barefoot,
think about
that's
the
why.
size of the space. You're not going to be able to like. You can have 2 shoes. You're not going to like. I'm wearing 4 shoes. Like,
And what if you miss, dummy?
Yeah, you're going to miss. You're going to be running around on 1 shoe like an idiot.
An alive idiot, a not dead idiot.
Here's the
3
thing.
landmines. You're
I'm
not going
not
to.
Rattlesnakes, they'll kill me instantly. I'm not
No,
dealing
they
with
won't.
1,000 angry rattlesnakes.
There will
You
be
said
an
they're angry. They're angry.
There'll be an ambulance waiting at the other sideline.
Oh, see, now you're adding things.
Well, here's the thing. I think we looked it up. You can get bitten by maybe 3 rattlesnakes, you said, before things get dire quickly.
I think 6. And you're
6.
probably a deep.
Yeah, then you're in deep doo-doo. But if you get bit by 1, you have like an hour roughly to antivenom and all that other stuff.
So my thing is like.
I think you just go full bore and you whatever happens. With
You
snakes.
have to hope that like some of the snakes, because like the snakes aren't going to like just sit where they are. They're going to like
They're
move
angry,
around.
by the
Or
way.
do you get medicine after the rattlesnake bite?
Yeah,
Or
you-
do I have
you
to wait
just
3
spend-
hours? Like, is this part
no,
of
the ambulance is there to either put your leg back on if it gets blown off or to give you antivenom if you get.
There's basically a rattlesnake for every 3 by 3 foot space. There's a
Yeah,
rattlesnake.
you did the Brinson math on that. I didn't check it, but that sounds about right.
This podcast is now like 42% of the entirety of this podcast like
Is about this.
in the history of this podcast have
It's about this. Would you
this has
rather?
been about this would you rather.
But I forgot. Yeah,
I am not surprised that Breech would choose landmines. That's not surprising.
but I think both Breech and Nada would get to the start line and see a couple body parts from previous attemptees strewn all over the field and think, you know what? Maybe this isn't the.
I would have to
And-
see what the
and-
rattlesnakes look like on the field and how they're lined up before I make
I
that
don't disagree with that take. If I would like to see how the rattlesnakes, because like if the rattlesnakes are
Well, they're not going to be all in one little bucket in the corner of the field.
That's what rattlesnakes do. They congregate.
Well, then why would you pick that then?
He's actually not wrong there somehow.
Then why did he pick landmines?
Well, because
he's
if
an
the rattlesnakes are all spread out, maybe they decide to spread out this time.
All right. Well, I think that landmines is a death sentence.
I think it is. I think this is a Rorschach test for whether you're a serial killer or not.
So Nada and Breech are serial killers.
Sorry, Nada. Nada just doesn't like snakes. I think.
Is that what it is, Nada? Are you deathly afraid of snakes, or you think you have a better
It's-
chance?
Basically, you're choosing whether you want to die slow or die quick.
Right.
The
Yeah, I
snakes
wanna
are
die
probably
slow.
going to paralyze your legs, and you're not going to make it through.
That is
And
that is
you're gonna
that is
continue
that
to
is
get
an
these-
underrated point in all this. Is
Hey,
that
you can army crawl.
no? If you get in there and you get 2 quick bites, you are probably not making it across.
No, we said 6.
No,
Don't
but I'm
get
saying, if you take that first step and you get lit up right away, like you're probably not making it.
So anyway, Breech, this put Brinson in such stitches that he was texting everyone he knew, and he wanted to talk about it for the next 3 hours.
My friends text thread they were watching the live show like as I was
Oh,
reading their
yeah.
text replies to it.
This is amazing.
All right. So, but I think Brinson, finally, you decided snakes, or you're still undecided?
No, I think I'm snakes. I can't handle the
Fear of not knowing.
fear of not knowing when.
And that's the other thing, Breech. I mean, I there's no time limit set on this. I suppose you can stand out there all day if you want to, but that might make it worse if you're trying to avoid landmines and you're getting in your own head. You made it that one step. The next step could be the one where you end up going through the goalpost. Look at Breech's face. He's getting nervous.
Well, no, I'm thinking. I am thinking.
that's thinking phase.
So when you're at a full sprint, you're probably taking about 1.5 yards, 2 yard steps.
That's true. You can.
So you're only touching the ground 10 times
okay.
if you play it right. So there's only 10 chances for you to hit these 3 landmines.
But if you're standing, you can hop in one direction. Whatever. Yeah, sure. You can sort of minimize your contact with the ground.
I guess one thing that we don't really know as people who don't deal with landmines very often is what is the radius of like contact for a landmine?
I mean, we need to look that up.
I don't know.
That matters.
Maybe 12 inches, like radius 12 inches. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
If it's 12 inches, I might be going back to landmines.
Okay. I think that's
That's 3 pretty small spots, but like
that's the whole point. It's one's incredibly small, but will kill you instantly. And the other one is incredibly large area, but you have a chance to survive.
I don't even know how do you Google this. Radius of landmine step.
The FBI will be by shortly. How to kill the most people with landmines. Will Brinson.
that's
You
probably,
see, sir, we were doing a Would You Rather on my podcast.
oh my god.
What is it?
The use of landmines is controversial because of their potential as indiscriminate weapons. They can remain dangerous many years after a conflict has ended, harming civilians and the economy. 78 countries are contaminated with landmines, and 15,000 to 20,000 people are killed every year, while many more are injured. Approximately 80% of landmine casualties are civilians, with children as the most affected age group. This is no
Yeah, a
joke.
lot of the African countries. That's a huge issue in African countries.
That is
Did
crazy.
Did you find out the answer to the radius, the step
No,
radius?
too busy. This is a really long Wikipedia page for landmines.
People have a lot to say about landmines.
All right.
All right,
Should I ask
All
the
right.
question?
Yeah,
Should we do actual football questions?
Yeah.
I think we've, if people are still listening, imagine
didn't-
turning this podcast on Tuesday, thinking we're talking about football, and we're 16 minutes in,
oh, this
and
is a good question.
even mentioned football once.
Could an Olympics? This is on Quora. Could an Olympic sprinter? I don't know who's asking this, but I kind of like the question. Could an Olympic sprinter outrun the blast radius of a landmine if it is stepped on while he's at top speed?
No.
Straightforward answer is certainly not.
No, unless he's running 500 miles an hour, he cannot. All right. First question. Go ahead.
Mailbag.
All right. This is from Dirk Vanderberg.
Dirk.
Via Facebook. No, we have a Facebook page. It was hot. It was a hot thing for a minute. Just
To
like
my face.
like everything we do around here. It was temporarily very intrigued. Like,
All right, off you go. Come on now.
my
Stay
annual
focused.
stinker question. There's hype coming from almost every camp, and a lot of people and teams can, quote, take a step. But which 5 teams are for sure doomed for 2022 and have absolutely zero chance of making the playoffs and are, as one would so eloquently put it, straight up dog doo-doo? My guess is Falcons, Bears, Panthers, Seahawks, eye emoji, and Texans. Those are the good. That's a good 5.
I'm
guesses.
going with the Bengals 5 times. Next question.
Oh, we missed. I mean, I think everyone who answers this question is going to put Bears and Falcons in.
Breech made a point in the previous podcast that super long shot odds that the Panthers maybe are a long shot odd at 65 to 1. Breech, is that what it was?
65 to
Super
1.
Bowl?
No, it didn't make the playoffs.
Wait, the Panthers are that cannot be.
No, to win the NFC.
Oh, the win to the NFC, sorry.
We had to pick a long shot that was over 50 to 1.
So the Lions aren't.
I've been like talking myself to the Panthers for the last 2 weeks. And I hate this.
So my point is that I wonder if the Panthers. I'm not talking myself into the Panthers, but you two are. I wonder if they're not on this list, and maybe you add the Jets because of the Mekhi Becton injury.
They
But I feel-
signed Dwayne Brown.
Yeah, I feel better about the Jets than I do the Panthers. Thankfully, my Lions are on this list. I think the Lions are going to be a fun team. We'll see how many games they win, but it's hard. I think the Falcons are not going to be very good. I think the Bears are an easy one. The Seahawks, the division doesn't help. I think if they're in the AFC South, maybe they're more competitive. And I think Texans might actually be okay.
It's interesting the Jaguars are not on here.
Well, I mean,
Ew.
I think,
I wouldn't put them on. I wouldn't put them on there. I'm just saying it's just interesting that.
yeah, I wouldn't either. I think they have a better chance of making the playoffs than the Panthers, even though they're in the tougher conference.
Nah. The Jags would be on my. I would take off the Panthers.
Why are you guys trying to talk yourselves in the Panthers?
I don't know why I'm doing it, and I don't like it.
I would
Yeah.
put Jacksonville on the
Oh,
list
stop.
just because the AFC is loaded and they would have to finish ahead of both. They have the Colts and Titans in their division.
Nada, can you Google NFL coaches or NFL annual meeting coaches picture and just give us a picture of Matt Rule in his outfit there? I need to get myself out. I need to talk myself out
Oh,
of
that's what those oversized
and
khakis.
this picture. Yeah. So, but like, sorry, go ahead, Breech. Take your time.
Even if Doug Peterson works magic and Jacksonville wins 5 more games they did last year, that's still only 8 wins. So they're 8 and 9. I just don't think I'm
So
putting
here's the-
Jacksonville on this list. I agree
So,
with
Breech,
our guys list. And putting
Dirk's question says, and the team has absolutely zero chance of making the playoffs. So you're saying that the Panthers' chances are higher than the Jaguars?
yes.
I
I
don't
think
so.
I think the Panthers are in a
let's-
more
let's-
wide open division.
I like
think-
I like to do this by division if that's okay. So in the AFC East,
It's not okay, but go ahead.
the Bills, Dolphins, Jets, and Patriots. I think the Jets are on the list
On the list for what?
of possible teams.
To be terrible?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
I'm not saying they're on. I'm not saying they're in the 5, but they're like
Okay,
we're
yeah.
trying to create a pool and then narrow it down to the 5.
Mm-hmm.
the Ravens, Bengals, Browns, and Steelers. I think the Browns could qualify because of the Watson thing.
100%.
All right, so we have Jets and Browns, Texans, Colts, Jaguars,
And by the way, we were recording this Friday. It's a Tuesday podcast. So
can we zoom in to Matt Rule over there?
Watson might be suspended longer by the time you hear this. We do not know as of right now on Friday when we record this.
If you can't zoom in, it's fine. Look at Matt Rule. Look at his khakis. I want. You think that man is making the playoffs? Like that,
He was a successful college coach.
I've worn khaki pants long enough that they created those horizontal wrinkles. You have to wear them for like 4 straight days to get, and people are like, "Oh, maybe he's on a plane." No, those are khakis that have not been washed for 4
Well, also, he's probably let's say his inseam is, let's say his inseam's 30 inches. Those are 34s.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at like I want you to go 1, 2, 3 over and look at Sean McVay. And I realize Sean McVay just won the Super Bowl. Everything's great, but like, I mean, tell me who's winning.
Well, go down the line. All those guys in the front row all have pants that fit. On the far right is Mike McDaniel.
Even fat Josh McDaniels looks.
How dare you?
He's fatter than he usually is. I can say that as a unnecessarily fat person.
Unnecessarily. Yeah, it's a weird look for sure. But I don't know if that you're the one trying to talk yourself out of it. So I don't.
He's like, what do I do with these hands?
That is fun.
Oh my God, these hands! All right, puff your chest up, suck it in, Rule. Get these dirty khakis. Damn it!
I hope there's.
You know what though? You know who went to 3 straight NFC title games wearing khakis? Jim freaking Harbaugh.
I'm not saying khakis are bad. I'm saying
ill-fitting
khakis are bad.
I'm just saying that maybe khakis are the secret to going to the Super Bowl.
Okay, that's a great theory.
If that was the secret doing the Super Bowl, wouldn't I be? Well, I guess I've been to a lot of Super Bowls. All right, so we got the Browns and Jets so far. Texans are absolutely in the mix.
Jacksonville's in the mix.
All right, Breech wants Jacksonville in the pool too. Raiders, Broncos, Chiefs, and Chargers. I think none of those.
No.
Yeah. Giants, Cowboys, Eagles, and the Commandos.
Giants and the Commandos.
I can't put anyone from the NFC.
I think the Giants. After watching the Giants in the preseason, I think they could.
They're better than the Commandos.
I don't know, the Commanders won 7 games. The trash situation.
Yeah,
their quarterback situation got worse.
No,
I don't think it's worse.
Why not?
They might have made a lateral move, but I don't think it's worse.
I think the Giants could qualify. The Giants could be really bad.
All right, go ahead.
Bears. I think Bears on everybody's list. The Lions probably qualify.
Yeah, they're the prelims.
Yeah. Falcons, Panthers, Saints, and Bucks. Falcons and Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cardinals, Rams, 49ers, and Seahawks. Probably just the Seahawks, right?
Throw the Cardinals in for fun. But yes, just the Seahawks.
Okay, so we have the Seahawks, Panthers, Falcons, Lions, Bears. It's 5. Giants. It's 6 in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
The Texans and Jaguars. The Browns and the Jets.
That's 10 total.
Okay. I think. I mean, I would lean towards. For me, I would lock in the Bears and the Falcons.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what Dirk did.
Okay, so so we need 3 more teams out of 8.
Okay.
You may present your case for your top choice, and then we can debate it.
I think.
Well, we all agree on the Texans, though, too, right?
I don't necessarily agree on the Texans. I think Davis Mills played well last year.
I don't trust Lovie Smith at all.
Yeah, he's not calling the.
Brian, Davis Mills played well last year, and they still only won 4 games.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but
they really don't have a whole lot on that roster.
I think the Panthers feel like a layup. I don't know why.
Well, so it's 2-1. We're putting the Texans on the list. Majority rules.
Okay, so Texans are on there.
So
I think
we need 2 more teams.
Brinson agrees that Carolina is terrible. He just admitted he doesn't know why he's.
But he doesn't want to put them on the list.
Oh,
well, the reason I want to put him on the list is like, all right. So Wilson, you think the Buccaneers are going to miss the playoffs?
Yeah, I think I said they're going to win 9.
And they are hemorrhaging.
Yeah, Breech mentioned that my realities are coming true. My predictions are coming true.
It's like the curse of the Black Pearl.
Probably need to be on the list too.
But here's the thing: if the Seahawks were in the AFC South, they'd win 10 games. Like they're not terrible. They're slightly below replacement level. They won 7 games last year. I mean, Russ played, but
had Russell Wilson.
A lot of that was Geno Smith, and when Russ came back, he played with 9 fingers.
I think the Seahawks have 7-win upside for sure. I mean, I think they can win 9 games.
So wait, are you voting yes or no on Carolina on this list?
I mean, I should vote yes.
What are
no,
you?
but what are you?
Yeah, what
we
are
don't know
you?
what you should do.
I'm voting that the Panthers are not making.
Okay, so that's 4.
All right, we got 4. I am
Any-
against that. I just want everyone to know I'm against
No one
that.
cares. All right, we have one
Everyone
more. So Houston, Seattle,
Breach is betting the Panthers to win the NFC.
Houston, Seattle, Cleveland, Jets.
No, Houston's already on
Giants.
our list. We've got the Falcons, Bears, Panthers, and Texans.
Yeah,
We need one more team.
No,
And it probably should be an AFC team.
I'm calling the teams that are left over,
But we have 3 NFC teams. We need a
and the Texans.
Yeah, we have 3 NFC teams. We need one more AFC team.
Yeah, so the Browns, the Jets, Giants are in the other conference.
It's basically Browns or Jets.
And the Falcons are already on there. Yeah, Browns, Jets, and then
Jaguars
Seahawks
are
Giants.
technically on the list. I mean, all right, this is my opinion, is that I had a huge argument with somebody last night about Deshaun Watson and whether or not he will sue the NFL when
sue.
What's that?
It doesn't matter. I mean, Tom Brady tried to take that thing to federal court with Deflategate, and they said beat it in one sentence.
Right. But I'm saying, like, the federal court, the judge now would, if they went to him, would be like, look, dude, you already accepted the 6-game suspension. Like, we're not giving you an injunction to play week 1. Like, you're going to be suspended 6 games.
They're not going to hear it.
I agree. And I think also, as we pointed out, that Deshaun Watson runs the risk of losing $47 million.
Why?
Because if they give him an injunction to play this year and then he gets suspended the entirety of next year.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I mean, the Browns could rework the contract, of course, but the NFL would figure out a way. I mean, like, the NFL's not going to let him just, keep,
well, they can find him. They can just find him.
system.
They can say, hey, give us $47 million. They don't care. Anyway, what's your point about the list?
Point being is that I don't think the Browns are a playoff team.
No, they're not a playoff team without
Wait,
Deshaun.
with Watson or without Watson, or either?
I think Watson is going to miss the entire year,
Yes.
and therefore,
But
All
Jimmy
right,
G,
well,
Jimmy
what
G
if
might
they
be an
traded for
option.
Jimmy Garoppolo?
then I would put the Jets on the list instead of the Browns.
Okay,
They're
well,
still
I
not a
think you have
playoff. They're still not a playoff team with Jimmy G. They just won
Probably
8
not.
games.
They won 10 games with Baker.
They didn't last year. They won 8.
2020.
Yeah, but if Baker played like that, he'd still be in the team.
Yeah, but Jimmy, do you think Jimmy is better than last year's Baker? Yes. Baker was injured and beat up.
But he's not better than 2 years ago, Baker.
But they still managed to win 8 games with a beat up Baker Mayfield. And Jimmy Garoppolo is a step up from a beat up Baker Mayfield.
And by the way, Jimmy G is not guaranteed to stay healthy either. So it's not like he's going to be out there the whole time.
True.
And then they're back at square one with Jacoby Brissett.
I'm going to go with the Jets. I think the Browns do have some good players. I think the Jets are likely to win fewer games in Cleveland, although I think the Jets can be better. Even
Wait, we all agree Jacksonville's not on the list? Or I have Jacksonville on the list. You guys don't want him on the list.
What's your case for that? I'm buying into Doug and Trevor.
I think Jacksonville's a fringe. I think Jacksonville can make
My case is that the AFC is absolutely loaded. So do you think Jacksonville's going to finish ahead of the Colts or the Titans?
No.
And the third place team in the AFC South not getting in the playoffs.
And I'm thinking like the bottom of the barrel teams here. I'm not just thinking about teams that are going to.
There's also a good
No, but
argument
I'm
that
thinking it says who has this.
Jacksonville's won more than 7 games once since 2008.
Well, this question is who has a 0 chance of getting the playoffs. And like you said, Wilson, if Seahawks were in the AFC South, they might win 8 or 9 games, but they're not. They're in a much more difficult division. And so based on how the divisions are constructed, I think Jacksonville cannot get in the playoffs out of that division.
And since we don't know all the variables at Cleveland still doesn't have a 0% chance of making the playoffs.
I think putting two teams from the same from a weak division on the list, which we already did with the Panthers and Falcons, is probably a bad idea. But doing it twice is a terrible idea. Because Matt Ryan could get hurt in the Colts.
We're not gambling on this. I mean, we're just having
Maybe we should.
mailbag conversation.
Maybe all 3 of us pick 5 teams.
But I mean, we just.
Well, let me put it this way.
Like, there's some strategy.
That's
involved.
it. Let's have a draft. We're gonna have a draft like we did last year with the Super Bowl winning teams in November.
Who won?
Everybody.
That?
You did.
Oh, we owe you $33.
That's fine. And
I'm gonna
should've-
Venmo
I should've given
Brinson
the
his money
Bengals a
right
shot,
now.
both teams. Yes.
I had
Yeah.
the Bengals and you had the Rams, and I would have won if the Bengals won the Super Bowl. And you guys let me get the Bengals in
The
the
Bengals
4th
won the
round.
Super Bowl? I can't remember.
Did they? I think they did.
I left the 4th quarter.
Oh, we missed.
That should be our next draft. 5 teams that won't make the playoffs.
You know, the biggest slap in the face of that Super Bowl loss that Breech had to endure is that he had to go outside the stadium and get heckled while he did the podcast.
Heckled.
while he wore
Every
his
10 minutes there was a heckling. Even you couldn't even see or hear them all. I had people just not even making noises, just doing stuff like this. Walking
Were you
by.
you did it on the iPhone or the cell phone too, right?
Did on the cell phone outside
So they probably
the
thought
stadium.
you were like some Instagram influencer. They didn't know that you were a
Well,
professional.
my phone was propped up in a tree. because that was the only place I could get it to stay and be level and not move or shake or anything.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was fun.
All right. So I'm fine adding the Jaguars of the Browns. I think the Jaguars are less likely to make the playoffs than the Browns.
Yes.
And doubling up in that division. I don't care.
I'll protest against the Jaguars. Like Breech protested against the Panthers.
All right. Duly noted.
All
All right. What's next?
So okay, yeah, whatever.
When's our draft for 5 teams that won't make the playoffs?
We should do both the Super Bowl team and the non-playoff teams. We'll do it right before the season. It'll be a podcast in and of itself.
At
one
Stubbs
podcast
7 on Twitter asks, given the impending non-tattoo.
I love that they just throw that in the
Oh well, you're gonna have to like get a tattoo of a Welch's grape juice.
Can't because they're not taking reservations.
Unbelievable. Which team, player, or coach is going to have the biggest gap between expectation and reality? P.S. Are you coming to the UK this year? And which pub will be hosting the pod? I'll answer the second one first. Probably not. I would love to go personally. Like,
what's the question have to do with the first few words? Given the impending non-tattoo,
I think it's a random drive-by shooting.
It's a random, yeah, exactly.
Just taking shots at
everyone.
Wilson.
Everyone knows that you're trying to Welch. It's
given that
obvious.
Wilson sucks so bad. Who's your favorite team? All right. Yeah, I would love to go to Great Britain as well. I don't know if that's in the budget, but I would certainly happily endorse that. Breech, have you been to Great Britain on your European travels?
I have been to Great
You went
Britain.
to Scotland, is that correct?
I went to Edinburgh. I went to Glasgow. I went to London. I think, and yeah, that's it.
Okay. And you
I just
recommend
want
it?
to hear Breech pronounce like various countries. And
I think he knows the capital.
No, I actually know that. That's what you mess up on. It's
What was it?
players' names that I mess up on.
What did I say? Seoul?
Yes, Seal for
South
Seoul.
Korea.
Seoul, South Korea. Breech called the Titans quarterback Malik Wallace yesterday.
That checks out. All right. So which team, player, or coach is going to have the biggest gap between expectation and reality?
So I mean, I think logically you would want to. I mean, just the way that people work. That's why people, you're better off taking unders versus taking overs, right? Unders like on because people don't want to take unders. People want to take overs. So I think it's like you're better to pick somebody with high expectations.
I got one.
And undershoot him. All right, go ahead.
Mike McCarthy.
Oh,
they won 12 games last year. If they win 7 or 8 games, it's Sean Payton time. Thank you.
I think it win 9 games. Sean Payton time.
Might be, yeah. I mean,
you miss the playoffs and you're adios amigo.
What if they win 9 games?
But what is expectation for the game?
But they go to the Super Bowl.
That's a stupid question.
They're going to the Super Bowl like us. They're going to be sitting in the stands. They went 12-5 last year, so I would imagine the over/under is probably 10.5. I'm just guessing.
I think that's right, actually.
Yeah. So I think if they go under that, and under that, I mean like 7 or 8 games because of injuries, or the defense doesn't have a lot of depth, or the wide receiver situation isn't great right now because of injuries. That's a huge gap between expectations and reality. You have a bigger one than that, Breech?
I mean,
Bengals win 2 games.
I'm gonna go with. I don't know. I can't even think of one right now. There's too many options. That's the problem.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you go look at the teams that are expected to win 10.5 or more games, which of those teams is most likely to stumble? Like the Packers? I don't think so. The Rams, maybe, but who's going to challenge them in the division? The Chiefs might be one, but if they stumble, I think they stumble to like 10 wins as opposed to 14 wins. The Chargers, maybe? We talked about them on the last.
I think Chargers are a wheelhouse for this.
Yeah, just because they always charge it up. I'm going to pick them to win the division.
The expectation, I think a lot of people will be picking the Chargers to win the Super Bowl.
Titans are one as well, by the way. They won 12-5 last year.
I don't feel like the Titans have high expectations. I don't feel like people have high expectations for the Titans.
Yeah, their over/unders this year is 9.5. So
Okay.
like they're not.
Which is probably what it was last year.
I think the Chargers are the quintessential example of this.
Okay, so more likely to stumble. Chargers went 9-8 last year somehow. Bengals went 10-7. Which team wins more games this year? And I'm taking Super Bowl hangover, even though they didn't win for the Bengals.
That's a good one. I'll probably take the Bengals to win more games just because they don't have those division matchups.
Their division's not easy though. I mean, the Ravens can be good.
Yeah, but
They beat the crap out of the Steelers last year. I can own that.
Well, Adam Gold and I were debating this. He was like, "What's the best division?" I said AFC West, and he was like, "I think AFC North might be better." And then we did the thing where it's like matchup 1v1, like
Yeah.
first, second, and it's like the AFC West blows them out of the water. I think.
Yeah. If you're making an all-star team, you want the AFC West.
Yeah,
And then you're trading the extra quarterbacks to get more players.
right.
So what do we think is a big discrepancy? So like if your over under is 8.5 and you win 10 games, is that over?
Oh, if you want to go you can go.
Not enough. You'd have to win 12, I think. To
You can go the other way, but that's like that. Maybe that's
3.5 over the total.
What about your Panthers, Breach? What's their over under?
Well, I was looking at the Panthers, and they're
if
over.
the Panthers win 9 games, that would
Is
win.
there over-
Okay, they're over under 6.5, and I do think they can win 9 games.
If they win 9 games, they would win this award.
They're going way under.
Okay,
6.5.
I'm going with
That's
the
insane.
Panthers. Going with Ryan the
That's-
Panthers.
Panthers are good.
Okay.
I'm going to take the, and I think the Chargers can be good.
Chargers are winning the division.
But I think people are projecting like a 13-14 win season for the Chargers and win the division, and they could win 8 games and miss the playoffs, and Brandon Staley's fired.
There's no way this team, if everyone's healthy or predominantly healthy, winning 8 games.
Yes, if the Chargers stay completely healthy, which the Chargers have done many
No, I said
times. over the last
predominantly healthy, like 85%.
I will take the Chargers because of exactly the Chargers. I think the Chargers are the most obvious.
All right, who wins the Chargers Cowboys Super Bowl?
I mean, that was the first Super Bowl I picked when I started at CBS. And
Yeah,
neither
it'd
of
be
those
full
teams- neither of
circle.
those teams
You
have
could
sniffed-
retire if that happened, Brinson.
Either of those teams have sniffed a Super Bowl. Like not even close.
your
to a
fault.
Super Bowl.
Not even a conference title game.
Correct.
Oh, well, Philip Rivers and who was it? It must be
Tony
Tony
Romo.
Romo.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's on me. That's on me.
You
all.
ruined both their Super Bowl hopes and dreams.
Put the Brinson stink on them.
All right,
So who's your pick, Wilson?
Dallas. I just told you that.
Okay.
That's easy. That's a layup. Make a note, Breach, and we'll revisit it in February and see if I was right again.
All right, wait. Who did Brinson say?
He
I
said
think the Chargers, and I'm saying they're going to underachieve. I think the Seahawks are a possibility too to overachieve.
And Wilson, you're saying the Cowboys go underachieve?
Are you writing this
Underachieve.
down?
Yeah, he so we can circle back because we say a bunch of stuff. We might as well revisit it. Content, man.
Oh, that
Content
reminds
is
me.
king.
Not a. I don't know if I will you clip Wilson's closing for the podcast where he said flippity flop?
Yeah, why not? I say that all the time.
It's
I'll say it
already
again.
been done. What are you
Said
talking about?
flippity flop
Perfect,
before.
perfect. Just, but can you email me the MP3 that way I can add it to
Well,
the
do it
drop?
yourself.
No, I'm going to add it to the drop.
When would you use that? I say catch you on the flippity flop or just the flippity flop part.
Maybe that's
I
how we
got
end the
some of these I
podcast.
got to get rid of. Like this one's stupid.
So my boy Ryan Wilson over at CBS Sports came out with his latest mock draft. Every week I pray that this guy will make a good mock draft, and he just can't do it.
That one's staying forever.
Yeah, that was
This
just
one.
another one.
I'm just stopping by to say, fire Ryan Wilson. Ryan Wilson.
God, I love that one so much. Do you remember? I mean, it was like 2 years ago. I mean, like if
It was
you
a Mac Wilson draft that people just
the Mac Jones.
hated. Mac Jones, Mac Wilson too, actually.
It was 2 years
Um,
ago. The draft. If you've been listening to this pod for a long time, you know what's going on. But in case you just happened to start listening recently because we were a finalist for a prestigious podcast award, Ryan
a tattoo
Wilson
on the line.
was doing mock drafts as the junior draft analyst for CBS, and a bunch of tweens, if you will, decided to drag him on TikTok ruthlessly every week when he released his mock draft. And he tried to pretend it didn't make him angry, but it definitely did. And we clipped the sound, and that was them right there. So
I'm just stopping by to say, fire Ryan Wilson.
Thing is, dum-dums, I was right. So why would I be angry about that?
it's
You
just
should
funny.
fire
It's just
those
funny.
kids from TikTok.
Yeah, kids, you're fired from the internet. Gotcha.
You got him on the flippity flop there. That's for sure. All right.
All right, what's the next question?
If the Pick Six crew could, this is from Landon Vice via Facebook. If the Pick Six crew could play any sport professionally, what would it be and what position would you play if applicable?
Easy for you to say.
I mean, do we have to do it all together or do we each get to pick one?
No.
Sand
So
volleyball.
let's
I, mean, I
set,
think we know where I'm going here.
let's set some ground rules. So this assumes that we are as athletic as we want to be, or based on our current fitness levels.
Based on our current fitness.
I think it's
levels.
just us, but we're able to play at a professional level.
Well, Breach
No,
says
we're in our prime, so we're like 25.
25, but we're at our prime personally, physically. Like I'm not Michael Jordan, you're not Jim Breach.
It's like it's 40-year-old me and
Yeah, so you're
15-year-old
not
Breach.
okay. So Brinson's going to try to make it on the tour, shooting 40 over every tournament.
Oh no! Okay, so I was reading it as you pick what sport you want to play professionally.
Yeah, I just said you're going to be a golfer, but you're going to never make a cut. What were you going to say?
I think you're like, I think it's like saying like you are capable of playing the sport at a high level. What sport do you want to play?
Well, we just determined that you're the same. You're as physically gifted as only your
Then
body.
there's no sport that I'm playing. It's like bowling. Like, I mean,
That's right.
You
I'm
can
not-
bowl.
I'm not
You
playing it
spend
professionally.
3 years practicing. You don't think you'd be a bowler?
No. All right. So
I'm
what's
not
your
professional.
level? What's Brinson's level of peak athleticism in this little hypothetical?
I think the answer for all of us is pickleball.
Go ahead, Brinson. Ignore him.
I mean, like, what's my peak athletic sport?
No, if in this little scenario we're playing out, how athletic are you envisioning yourself to compete?
I mean, I think the best possible way that I can be competitive would be like a decently defensive second baseman who plays like
Oh, okay.
low
you're-
single A ball or something like that.
Oh, well, that's realistic. Okay, I thought you were going to say like you're Dustin
Like
Johnson.
I'm not going to magically become a scratch. Even if you're a scratch golfer, you're like not
You're-
sniffing the tour. Like
You're never making right.
Yeah, you might be like a pro at a
No,
club.
I think scrappy defensive second baseman is the most honest thing you ever said. Low A ball playing for the Durham Bulls back when they were single A.
I'm actually going to their AAA. I'm going to a Bulls game on Saturday with Robbie.
I'm so old. I used to drive to Durham and watch them when they were single A. Saw Chipper Jones there. When he made like 40 years, his first year in professional football.
Dom has said, Will golfer, Breech tennis player, Wilson horse trainer.
How you feel about that, Brent? You're not the tennis player.
My tennis game is in shambles right now. I'm not-
Oh, by the way, Breech, you'll be happy to hear this. Brinson never had a tennis game, but he is now calling it shambles. And he said the other day you would be able to beat him now, which we knew back in January.
I wouldn't want to play Breech right now. My tennis game's in shambles.
How could it have such a fall off in 2 months?
It's been like a year, bro.
He got injured.
No, they
We talked about this in January, February. That's not a year ago.
it's 8 months.
Okay. 4 months.
I
shy of a year.
haven't been playing. I don't know if you know this. Practice important. Like that's the other. That actually goes back
Not
to
according to Allen Iverson.
Breech. Like Breech is like hasn't played since high school.
And he will still smoke you. That's how bad things have gotten for you.
I mean, like if you go,
and
like,
you are embracing that now because you know the reality of what's
no,
about
I'm
to,
not embracing it. I'm just saying that
of the hell that's about to rain down to you in Nashville, and Breech takes you to the tennis courts and
we
beat
think
you
I
like
play-
a
we think I play. I
like
think
a mule.
We'll play a
with,
match while Wilson's getting a tattoo.
yeah, that's right. We're gonna play it like Mike McClure's rooftop tennis. I don't think I would want to play on a rooftop tennis court.
Yeah, I don't either.
That makes me nervous.
They're fences. You're not going to fall off.
I don't like the. I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. I'd go up there, but I
That's the
wouldn't. be, like,
weirdest
running-
excuse for not playing a sport. All right, so Breech, Brinson's going to be second baseman, which a scrappy second baseman, which I can support that. What are you going to be?
Wait, he's gonna be a defensive second baseman.
I'm Mark Lemke, man. That's all I'm trying to be. Is Mark Lemke.
There's something to be said for Mark Lemke.
I'm gonna be a marathon runner.
You ran a marathon already in record time. Well, why would you do that again?
I can't believe we went from the most honest thing I've ever said to just a repeat of a Breech lie. It's just
Yeah. Yeah. We're living in a world now where Brinson's telling the truth and Breech is lying.
I already know what it's like to run it, so I'm in my prime. So I'm gonna make my money.
So Breech and I talked about this on the previous episode, and I think I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to be a punter. Like I can in my prime, I could punt the ball 45-ish yards. So if I hone that skill, I'd be a punter. Low pressure. You don't do anything. You stand there all day. Just don't drop the punt and don't shank a lot. And I think you'll be okay. Well,
Hey, Breech, you're just obviously a field goal. You're a kicker.
he was never a kicker. He was a punter,
Oh, that's right.
and I beat him out
that's
for the
right, 'cause
job.
You couldn't live up to your father's lofty expectations. It
Yeah.
crushed you physically, emotionally, spiritually.
And the
It's
worst
broken
part-
it's broken you to this day.
Kicking is not easy, Brinson.
The worst part of this hypothetical is that Breech and I are both trying out for the punter job on the Bengals, and he gets cut. So he has to be a marathon runner.
The Bengals
like
aren't
Breech,
gonna punt
like-
this year. They have Joe Burrow.
Breech is basically like Ray Finkel with daddy issues.
Yes.
All right, Wilson, did we figure out what you're going to be?
I just had a punter. I want to be a punter.
Finally, from
Finally.
He's Constantine on Twitter. What will a good preseason be for Trey Lance for the upcoming season?
Don't get hurt. Number one.
So I think that like one thing about Trey Lance that maybe 49ers fans and fantasy owners and people in general haven't sort of wrapped their head around is that like people rip on Jimmy G. He makes some bad mistakes, but Jimmy G is a really high floor.
Yeah, and I'm guilty of doing that, and he is better than I give him credit for sure.
His ceiling is not enormous, Trey Lance's ceiling is much higher, but Trey Lance's floor is much lower. Trey Lance is going to have some stinkers, probably. Like, it would be pretty shocking if Trey Lance had a full-blown, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson second year, like, obliteration.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Keep going. Don't get distracted.
Sorry.
Nothing happened.
If you're Trey Lance in the preseason, I mean, if you're Kyle Shanahan, you just want to make sure he can comfortably run the offense. If Trey Lance goes out there and throws 10 interceptions in 2 games, you're not going to be very comfortable going into the season with him.
Are you playing him more than, because again, this is different than a veteran
he's gonna have,
quarterback.
people are listening to this on Tuesday. He'll have played over the weekend.
So would you play him, assuming he's healthy, and hopefully he is, you playing him how much the next 2 games?
I think Shanahan said he's going to play him the first game and the third game.
Okay.
So he's going to see some action.
I think he needs to, because again, he hasn't played a lot of football and he's young, even though he's going to be the starter. And even if he throws a couple interceptions, if he's doing what Shanahan wants him to do, I'm fine with that. I think he would have to come out there and just have like 10 interceptions, like you said, and then there'll be cause for concern. He had a bad practice. I think his worst practice of the training camp last week, but he bounced back the next day with a good practice. I think generally he's been pretty good in training camp. So, and as Brinson has noted previously, he's big on the fantasy radar. Is that correct?
Oh, huge. Yeah. He's up there. Yeah. People are expecting, because just his legs and like at this point, like anybody, a running quarter, like people drafting Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, obviously Kyler Murray, I guess, Trey Lance ahead of Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford in fantasy because of the fact that they have the rushing equity.
Right.
Yeah. So.
All right. Yeah. I think.
Brinson, does that mean you're going to draft Trey Lance in all your leagues?
I'll have plenty of Trey Lance, but he's a little pricey for me, frankly. I don't have.
What do you guys think of Malik Willis's rookie performance, preseason performance?
I need to go back and watch it. I watched the Giants Patriots game. The Titans game went on TV, was it?
I just mentioned that because
Prisco was on TV in Nashville.
That makes sense. Yes.
So I got to watch it.
Prisco was just ripping him like a few minutes ago on their text thread.
I mean, he wasn't bad. He wasn't great, but he just refused to throw. He's always looking to run. Made a couple good deep throws. But I mean, it's his first ever NFL action. And if you take that into consideration, I feel like he was okay.
Yeah, I was fine with it too.
Good enough.
Third round pick. He's not a first round pick.
Right.
All right.
All right.
The first mailbag, seamless. The second mailbag, long-winded.
Absolutely disastrous. That's how we roll around here.
All right. Before we leave, Breech, you still doing the landmines, or are you taking the snakes?
Snakes.
Aha! I knew it. Nada?
Give me the landmines. If I'm gonna die, let me die quick.
Yeah.
Brinson tried that too.
Suck when you catch like just the side of a landmine, it blows off your leg, and you're just laying there watching Wilson prance through some snakes.
Well, then they release the snakes too while you're laying there. Just to add insult to injury. Yeah.
Well, Breech, Wilson had a good like, not a hypothetical, but like you're about to get through the snakes, and all of a sudden, like your buddy who's running through the landmines gets blown up, his leg goes flying, knocks you over into some snakes, and yeah,
that's a wrap.
All right. By the way, if tomorrow's podcast should be recorded live from Nashville.
Woo!
Right?
Don't ask me. You're the host.
Because currently it's Friday afternoon if you're watching on YouTube Live. But if you're listening to this podcast, it comes out on Tuesday in the audio form. Wednesday, I believe we're doing something in Nashville Live. So the question I have for you too, the last mailbag question. When we're doing Wednesday's podcast, does Ryan Wilson have a tattoo? Yes or no?
Well, honest prediction or hopeful prediction?
Honest prediction.
I don't yet have any responses from the myriad local tattoo parlors. So take that under advisement as you make your predictions. I'm trying.
I will say no, but I might change my guess to yes. I'm in Nashville right now. I'm literally just going to drive around and find a tattoo parlor that says walk-ins welcomed.
Okay. There's enough effort being put forth by Devo here that I feel like
I need 4.8 or higher. I have
4.8 or higher.
Going to a 3.5 tattoo parlor. What is Debo doing anyway?
4.8 or higher?
Yes, it's a tattoo. It's not. I'm like I'm buying a pizza.
Wilson is pretty aggressive with his Yelp requirements. Like when we were in Nashville for the draft, Wilson was like adamant about like, I'm gonna go. This coffee shop has a 4.9.
Oh, I don't know if that's true or not, but that sounds like me.
Yeah, we walked like we could have gone and gotten like Starbucks like 500
We
feet away.
did.
And you
I was
maybe like, go to like the what was it, the monkey, the frothy monkey or something?
The frothy monkey.
No, they
Frothy
were.
monkey? What's the frothy monkey?
No, not you went there with EK. We went to another place, but
Where'd we go?
went up the street. It was early morning. But yeah, that does sound like me. But I think I recommended Frothy Monkey to you and EK. And there's several locations. That's Breech.
I went with you. Oh, no, you and I walked to the frothy monkey. I'm pretty sure.
No, I know where we walked. It wasn't the Frothy Monkey. Frothy Monkey's in 12 South, and there's another location. Where's the other location? Breech?
Right.
I think it's in Brentwood.
That's right. Where did we go?
You went to
I
the one
think
in 12
Victor
South.
Garcia is on to you, Wilson. He says you Googled every Nashville tattoo parlor. The highest rating is 4.7. So you know there are no 4.8s.
No, there are a couple 5s, there are a couple 4.9s, there are a couple 4.8s, and I have yet to hear back. So that's what I'm trying for.
Yeah, I bet you're really hammering it.
No,
Now I have to find out what the name of the coffee shop we went to.
I'll
was.
figure it out. It's not worth doing it on air.
we'll figure it out. We'll do the podcast on Wednesday live from that coffee
Not
shop.
the frothy. How did I remember the frothy monkey?
Because you went there with EK. I had recommended to you guys, and that was during Breech's wedding. That was a different time.
I don't think that was it.
Well, what was that burger place you recommended? Was it Hop Daddy?
No, it's under the bridge. I'll look that up too. It's
look
Nashville
that up.
something or other. We should
Okay.
hit that up. That's where we should go.
Yeah, look that up.
Yeah, I'll send that to you after.
Either
Wilson-
Wednesday
Wilson,
or
Wilson
Tuesday
can find
or
like
Monday.
500 different like high level restaurants and coffee
Can't find a
shops.
tattoo
You won't
parlor.
believe it. Can't find a tattoo parlor.
I'm looking, guys. I love it.
Trying.
I love it. I love it. I love having.
Um,
I'm like Orlando Brown. I have leverage over you two idiots. Finally,
I swear to God, it was the frothy monkey.
it's not. It was. If you walk out of the Hutton Hotel and take a right, that's the direction we went, and we went up about half a mile, took another right. That's where it is.
Okay.
And they were just opening.
Frothy monkey.
Okay. It was like downtown, right?
No, downtown. I think it's considered like Broad Street. Is that correct, Breech?
Oh, did we stay at the
Broadway.
Hutton? Did we stay at the Hutton
Broadway.
before?
Yeah, that's where we saved the draft. Can we please get off this podcast?
You don't want to. You want to figure out live?
I got to do HQ at 6. It's 2:30 as we sit here.
He needs a nap.
I got to prepare.
All right, that'll do it for us. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. For Wilson,
Hey, look at this arm. No
Is that where it's
tattoo.
going? I thought you were gonna do like shoulder, maybe.
Right here.
Was it Dunkin' Donuts we went to?
No, of course not. They go to Dunkin' Donuts.
Ha 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 ha. For Wilson, for Breech, for Wilson, I'm Brinson. See you guys later. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Bye.